Welcome to the Gold Club podcast. I'm your host, El Delgado. The 2024 MLS season is upon us. It begins just about a month away from the first game. And to talk about the 2024 season, specifically Inter Miami, we have Alex Windley of the Bleacher Report, who covers the team. Alex, thank you for coming on the podcast again. Thank you so much.
Hey everyone, nice to be on again.
Let's get started real quick, because there was some news just before we started this conversation regarding Facundo Farias, who apparently got injured. I'll give you the floor on that one.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate, honestly. Yeah, it was honestly looked like a freak tackle. He was going in to shield the ball, and one of the El Salvador players came in behind and was a little too rough. And you could see Facu's foot was planted on the ground and his knee shifted forward, not too dissimilar to the Neymar injury that happened to him. So as soon as I saw that, I knew it was probably gonna be his knee. And yeah, it's unfortunate because he's a bright young player, but I do think Miami have enough young wingers waiting on the sidelines to kind of take up his minutes, kind of like Robert Taylor. I know Coco Jean's coming back from injury. Stefanelli's probably gone from the team based off some transfer rumors, but I there's this young academy product named Felipe Valencia, who's a similar profile in Facu. Who's a left-footed winger who could probably fill in if Tata should use him. But yeah, it's unfortunate, but I know that Chris Henderson will probably maybe look at bringing in another player just to cover Faku now that he's injured.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he had a decent run with the team when since he arrived at the end of last season, and you would expect that even if he wasn't going to break the starting 11, he would likely be getting a lot of minutes when some of the players like Messi was out with the national team. So it's quite unfortunate. And sticking with we're talking one day after Inter Miami tied 0-0 against El Salvador in their first preseason game. Uh, just can you tell me the first impressions of what you saw? We saw primarily a something close to the starting 11 that we're likely to see the season in the first half, and then a lot of changes for the second half.
Yeah, I thought it looked it was preseason, so they looked sluggish and slow, but towards the tail end of the first half, I thought they started to build momentum and keep possession really well compared to last season. I know that Tata wants to be a possession based team, and it shows. They've been working on that over the offseason and defensively as well. They looked good. El Salvador is trying to get them in behind over the top, but the back three, which was kind of experimental, and Yedlin, Thomas Avilas, um, and Noah Allen, they did well to keep everything in front of them and not really let that pacing behind them get the best of them. So they did well in regards to that. I know they are going to go out and sign another center back. I believe some reports. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but Nicholas Fiere. I don't know
Okay.
how to pronounce his last name, but the guy from Pumas, essentially, that they're going to sign. So some more reinforcements are coming in, and what depending on what the club decides to do with Faku and his roster spot, maybe they'll bring in another attacker. But yeah, I thought the tail end of the first half they played well. I didn't really count the second half because it was a largely rotational side of players that probably won't start. But if that's the starting 11 on opening day, maybe Diego Gomez for Benjamin Karaski. But other than that, I thought they looked good for what it's a preseason game. So
Yeah, I mean, I think the best play I saw, because I pretty much just only watched the first half, and I think 35th minute it was a good combination between I don't remember if it was Jordi Alba and Messi, and then with two saves from the goalkeeper, and
yeah.
then the goalie saved another from Jordi Alba at the end of the first half. So uh, there was some signs that there's good stuff coming around. So obviously the big conversation surrounding the team is the incorporation of Luis Suarez for this season, and they also added Julian Gressel coming from the MLS champion Columbus Crew. So how do those two players gonna fit what Miami is trying to do for 2024?
Yeah, I'm super excited about Julian Gressel for one. I think that he's the type of player that will help Miami balance out their formation. I know it's Tata probably wants to stick with that 3-5-2. It looked solid when they were really pushing the possession. I think with Julian Gressel on the right hand side now, it's the attack on the flanks isn't just up to Jordi Alba anymore. So Alba won't have the sole onus of playing defense and attack. So now Gressel can do what Jordi Alba was doing on the left last year, and Jordi doesn't have to exhaust himself running up and down. So there's nice balance now, and you saw that last night as well. With that I think it was that combination almost goal with Jordi, Busquets, Suarez, and Messi nearly scored twice. So I think we're going to see a lot more of that this year. And Julian Gressel is an incredible pickup, and I'm excited to see him get more minutes and play in different positions and see how that works out. I know Miami's not completely done with their roster build. They still have some players to move out and to a couple to bring in. I do think so. Yeah, I think it just depends on where Tata, how Tata wants to play. So I do think that so far Gressel and bits of Suarez, he's still coming into the system and getting up to fitness. They'll work out in the long run.
Alrighty. And as best as you can tell, do you think Gressel will see more time in the wing, or will he see more time as a wing back in the position that usually Yedlin takes them?
Yeah, I think he'll be a wing back, honestly, like what happened last night. I think he'll play either as a right winger when Messi's gone, or a right wing back when they're playing a 3-5-2. I thought it worked really well. There were some instances between him and Gregory and even DeAndre Yedlin where they combined really well. Sometimes they probably should have played the pass a little quicker, but you see the potential there, and it shows that they have been working on those passing patterns over the summer, over the winter preseason. I know it's still the first game and the season still, there's still like a month to go until they have their first game. So a lot of work will be put in, but the glimpses I did see when they weren't tired were super promising.
Already. And so, just for the people that are just catching up to what's happening with Inter Miami this preseason, can you just tell us what's next in their schedule?
Yeah, so for Inter Miami's preseason, I think they're heading to Dallas on Monday, which is a really the games are so closely together. I think that will be a rotational side, so they're going to play Dallas on Monday, and I'll check my calendar. I think after that they're heading to they're playing so many games. Let me check them right quick. Dallas, and then there's a couple days off before they head to Saudi Arabia to play Al Hilal and Al Nassr, and then they're going to be over in Asia for a couple of days. And then their last preseason game will be against Newell's Old Boys on February 15th. So a lot of games for Miami, and I think it'll be heavily rotated. And I think Tata's smart. He's gonna play the big four for about 45 minutes, and then rotate the kind of the depth pieces of the team. So hopefully no more injuries, and Miami can get through that the preseason without any other incidents.
Already. Wanted to ask you also about potential signings with the Igor Farias, and you mentioned that they're looking at a Pumas defender. I think you mentioned Nicolas Freire, I believe is the one that you mentioned. I had to look it up his last name just to make sure
Yeah.
it was the same guy. And also, as I was looking at his name on transfer market, there's a rumor of potentially of Christian Medina from Boca Juniors that's been mentioned. So, what are some of the potential signings that you're hearing that Miami might make before the start of the season?
Yeah, other than the center back, I know there's Augustine Pavlacino. I don't know if I'm saying that his last name correctly, from River Plate. I don't know if this is a concrete thing, but I know some Argentine reporters were saying that Miami was launching a loan with an option to buy. Regards to him, especially now with Facundo out for the season, I think they're probably going to push for another attacking player. Honestly, I know Messi will be gone for Copa America and friendly, so I do think it is important for Miami to bring in another creative player who, obviously, it's Messi, you can't replace him, but someone who can, help shoulder the offensive load. I know Robert Taylor will be there, Julian Gressel, Suarez will probably be there, but you need that, that winger that can take on players one-on-one, and that was what Farias was able to do, but now he's injured. So yeah, I think over the next week and a half, we'll see, Miami move in the roster in terms of the transfer market and all that good stuff. I don't know if their cap situation will allow it, but with Facu, set to be out for the rest of the season, I think Miami could look into putting him on the season reserved and maybe bringing in another player.
Already. And so, uh, for you, as we're closing into the start of the season, what are some of the biggest questions, or what are some of the spots to watch for that this might be good competition for that starting position.
Hmm. I think I don't know. I know Chris Henderson mentioned that he wants two competitive players per position, and I think Miami has that now with Facu out for the season. Like I said, I do think they'll bring another player, but right now I think the roster is pretty balanced on both sides, and I think Miami made it a point of the offseason to make that happen. There are still some players that will have to be sold just to for roster moves and a roster compliance, which we'll probably see soon. I have a whiteboard with the Miami's roster in my room, and I'm crossing out players when they leave and filling them in when they sign. So I think there was a rumor of Nicholas Stefanelli going to Everton in Chile. I don't know if that's been finished, but there are rumors regarding that. Coco Jean, who's not fully fit yet, he also tore his ACL last season. He should be coming back, and with Faku out, he could get more minutes now that he's coming back from injury. And yeah, it's just now it kind of throws the roster. It's a solid roster, but I do think Miami will probably get more attacking talent now that Faku's out, but I don't know how they're going to be able to do so. But like I said, if I see any rumors or hear anything, I'll definitely post it and tweet it out for Miami fans so they can keep up to date.
Awesome. I guess for people listening and watching, where can they find you on X?
Yeah, you can find me on my new Substack, the Heron's Nest .substack.com, and on Twitter at X now at AAW underscore 1998.
Awesome. Alrighty. So you mentioned that the team wants to have two competitive players per position. Obviously, they're going to have a loaded schedule in 2024 with the Leagues Cup, CONCACAF Champions Cup, and potentially we don't know what their plans going to be with the Open Cup. So what's going to be? What are the goals from what you're hearing? What the Miami wants to for Miami? I mean, do they want to go and win as much as they can, or what's going to be the
Yeah, mainly CONCACAF Champions Cup is probably the number one, number two MLS Cup, but I think realistically it'll probably be MLS Cup is number one, and then maybe going for US Open Cup for the second time. But I think for one, they do want to win the Champions Cup. That'll be hard because there are a lot of good Mexican sides that have more money and are just probably better to bottom spenders in MLS teams. So yeah, I don't it'll be difficult for Miami to win that, but MLS Cup I think is the number one um goal for this team this year to get that star above the badge. And you want Messi to leave his legacy here in Miami. Obviously, him signing enough is already big, but he obviously wants to win more trophies and add to the team's success.
Yeah, big year for the CONCACAF Champions Cup is the winner of this edition will be essentially the last CONCACAF team that qualifies for the Club World Cup in 2025. So there's gonna be a host spot. We don't know what's gonna be. I don't know if FIFA will take the MLS Cup champions, so that could be also important. That's why both are big this year. But it's gonna be interesting to see what FIFA does with that host spot. And I wanted to also ask you about is at the end of last year when Messi came, we had a chat and I mentioned that I thought that the team was on a trajectory to get into the playoffs. Obviously, Messi gets hurt, and the team goes on a start struggling. Uh, so what happened other than that? Obviously Messi senior is going to have a big impact, but it seems like there were some other things going on with the team. And as best as you know, what happened at the end of last season.
Yeah, I think honestly it was just solely Messi's his hamstring strain that kind of incapacitated the team a lot. And even Tata said that him coming mid-season after Phil Neville got fired, it was basically like a 6-month scouting operation that they were preparing for the next season anyway. The fact that they won the League's Cup was a miracle, and Tata would probably say the same. So they spent those 6 months kind of just laying the foundation to win and prepare for 2024 and 2025. So besides Messi getting injured, obviously Alba, Busquets were starting to get tired, and even some of the younger players, they were starting to get a little fatigued. And Gregory's coming back from injury, Jean Mata as well. So it was difficult for the team. But I now know now this preseason, everyone's back and fully fit except for obviously Facu. And now they have the players in place to be able to challenge for more silverware. So I think that was the biggest issue last season, is that they just ran out of gas, really.
Yeah, and also want to ask. So obviously that injury was a big hindrance to the team uh, to make the playoffs. But this year, Messi's gonna be out in the summer for Copa America. I'm just thinking on top of my head with the roster. I mean, Kremaski could be potentially be considered for the Olympic squad as long as with calendar. Kenneth Taylor, if Finland qualifies for the Euro. So, do you think there's enough depth for the team now to be able to cope with some of those departures in summer?
Honestly, I would say yes if Faku was healthy, but now I'm a little concerned. I know Miami will try their best to keep their players, but it will be difficult. I'm also going to blame MLS for not having an international window so players can go freely and back. A lot of big teams in the league like LAFC and Miami, a lot of the teams in the league that have national team players, they're going to lose their players for a certain period of time because the league just refuses to have an international window or continue to like obey it according to FIFA rules. But yeah, I do think that with Faku, I would have said yes. Without him, no. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I think Miami, like every other team in MLS, they'll have to deal with it and push through.
Alrighty. And going back to the CONCACAF Champions Cup, Miami, by winning League Cup, they automatically advance to the round 16. They'll play the winner of Nashville and Mocha. And just looking at some of the potential matchups, they could potentially face either Monterrey or Cincinnati in the quarterfinals. They could potentially play either Tigres or Columbus Crew in the semifinals, and maybe Club America in the final. So, how I think it's gonna be a tough task to win it all. But how confident is the team, uh, the players and the staff, for that they can make a big run at it?
I think any team with Messi, they're going to be the favorites for anything. Even though last season they were favorites to make the playoffs, but they weren't able to do that because Messi got injured. But I think now I feel like they're better prepared. I know that first round is kind of favorable for them. They're playing Nashville at home, so I think that should be not an easy game, but it should give them home field advantage. And then I think some of the bigger Mexican sides, like I think Tigres and Monterrey, I think they're on the opposite end, or is it Club America? I don't have to recheck the bracket, but
Uh,
some of the bigger Mexican sides.
so Club America is on the opposite side. So Monterrey could potentially be a quarterfinal matchup.
Yeah.
Monterrey Cincinnati could be a quarterfinal. Tigres could be a semifinal matchup.
Yeah, so those are the teams that Miami won't face until later in the tournament, and if they get to that point, I think they'll probably have the momentum going and the belief going to keep going like they did during the League's Cup. So I do fear some of those bigger Mexican sides that will probably get the better of Miami, but I think semifinals at least would be successful for Miami, and if they can make the final, who knows what can happen.
So, what are some of the other things that you wanted to find out from Miami as we head into the next preseason games? What are some of the players that you want to see a little bit more of uh, in this preseason?
Robert Taylor, I want to see more of him. We already know what he can do, but I want to see if he can gel within this new system. I want to see more of Julian Gressel. I know he got 70 minutes. He looked tired at the end, so it's just fitness. And who else do I want? More of the youth, Benjamin Kramaski, Noah Allen, David Ruiz, more lost in Sunderland. Thomas Avilas played really well. I thought him, Messi, and Noah Allen were the best players last night. I thought they did really well. I want to see more of him. Obviously, more of Suarez. I want to see if he's able to gel a little bit quicker. And I would have said Farias, but yeah, it's unfortunate to what happened to him. But yeah, more of the youngsters.
Already. Has there been any conversations about what the Inter Miami's plans are going to be for US Open Cup? We had the big controversy this offseason with MLS initially wanting to pull MLS first teams out of the competition, and then US Soccer essentially denying that request. Uh, so, has there been any hints on how the Inter Miami wants to approach Open Cup?
I think honestly, the earlier rounds are gonna play like a heavily rotated side. Honestly, like against Miami FC, I think they'll play a lot of academy players. I don't think they'll take it seriously until they get into the later half of the tournament, which I'm sure a lot of MLS teams do. But I think for the sake of Miami saving their energy for other things, they're gonna just play academy players and depth pieces that probably need minutes.
Already. And talking big picture about the 2024 season, I mean, what are you most excited to watch from this team? What do you want to see? And are there some several games that you already have marked in your calendar about?
Yeah, well, they're playing Orlando in March, and that's gonna be interesting after the stadium incident. Inter and Co. Orlando, they named their stadium Inter, so I think that'll be an interesting matchup between the two teams in March, an early derby in the season. I want to see those matches against FC Cincinnati. After the U.S. Open Cup loss that Cincinnati suffered, there's been not animosity, but they've always been looking they constantly looking for revenge against Miami because we knocked them out. What else? Some more. I'm looking forward to Miami playing some more West Coast sides. I know they're gonna play LA Galaxy in their home opener in February, I think. Yeah, February or March, I believe. Their home opener. The Galaxy's home opener, so that should be good. Yeah, there's just a lot of cool upcoming games. The Sporting Kansas City game where they're gonna play at Arrowhead, that should be absolutely incredible. And I think that's the biggest one for me, playing at Arrowhead. That should be a really fun game, sold out probably, and it should be a fun time.
Yeah, absolutely. I would be surprised if more teams do something similar, trying to play a bigger stadiums nearby. If Inter Miami comes to visit. So, what's the buzz from fans regarding the team ahead of this season?
A
As you
lot
can
of them
tell,
are excited. Yeah, a lot of them are excited. They're a little worried about the preseason, but they're excited to see what the team can do. A full season of Messi, a full season of Tata, implementing his style, a full season of Busquets, Suarez now. Yeah, I think they're all intrigued to see if they can continue what they did during the summer in the Leagues Cup. This team knows how to win trophies, so I think the fans are just now excited to see them continue that.
Right. And one of the last questions are just a little more related to the 2026 World Cup. We're a couple of weeks away for the reveal of the match schedule. So, is there any buzz about Miami and the potential games that they could get in the 2026 World Cup, potentially a quarterfinal, maybe a semifinal if that's probably the best case scenario?
For the World Cup, or
Yeah, for the World Cup.
oh, okay. I don't know. I like. I think a quarterfinal is more realistic. I don't think the final will not be played in Miami. I know that for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, quarterfinal. Maybe a group stage game was definitely feasible. There's a lot of soccer fans here, and I think that will be a good thing for Miami and the city, especially with Messi here and all the big players on the team. I think it'll only be a good thing for the city.
And now speaking of Miami hosting games, have you heard any buzz about the Copa America final that actually is going to be taking place at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami?
Yeah, it is, and I'm excited. Hopefully, I can get credentialed for that. But that should be a cool thing if Argentina make it. It's going to be crazy packed out. Lots of pink, lots of sky blue, and in gold. So hopefully Argentina can make it there. I don't. They should be able to. They're probably the best team in South America right now. Brazil, unfortunately, is not playing as well. But yeah, I think it will be a cool thing, especially if Argentina make it. But yeah, let's see how it goes. Let's see if Messi will be able to do his thing and bring them there, and it should be a fun time.
Yeah, absolutely. And Argentina got the good luck in the draw with essentially drawn on the opposite side of the bracket with Uruguay, Colombia, Brazil, the US. So technically, like Mexico, Ecuador, Chile, Peru are the toughest opponents on their side of the bracket to reach the finals. Seems like they have a fairly a little bit of an easier path to get to the final.
They should be, hopefully.
Alrighty, that's pretty much all I wanted to ask you. Is there anything else that you want to mention that I didn't ask about the season or something that you're looking forward to?
I think this week their jersey sponsor is officially dropping, I think on Tuesday. So fans should look out for that. I don't know when the shirt's officially gonna drop, maybe later in February, but new jersey sponsor, so that should be fun.
All right. So is there this jerseys that we've seen on social media with the Royal Caribbean logo? Is that expected to be the new jersey for the 2024 season, or that's still to be seen?
Yeah, that's the jersey sponsor, the Royal Caribbean, excuse me, to be the front jersey sponsor. I know it's the main sponsor for a lot of the stuff that the team does, and as far as the leaks goes, I don't know if that's going to be officially the color that the team uses, or maybe it'll be a lighter pink. So yeah, I think we just have to stay tuned.
Thank you again so much for coming on the podcast. We'll see you later. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on.